Hi, I'm Emily with Ascent Payment Solutions, and in this video series, we're going to talk about chargebacks. We're going to talk about how you know when you have received a chargeback, because it isn't always as obvious as you may think. Also, what are the rules of the games? Because inside chargebacks, it's a little bit different than people assume. But first, let's start at the very beginning. What even is a chargeback? And what happens? So a chargeback is a demand by a credit card provider for a retailer to make good on the loss of a fraudulent or disputed charge. So without the bank jargon, here's what happens. A customer is upset about something. Maybe the product wasn't as they thought it should be, or it wasn't even their credit card. So they call the credit card company and start a dispute. From there, the bank goes to work. And one of the first things that you'll see is that the money is removed from the merchant's account. The merchant or the business is going to get a letter in the mail from the bank letting them know that there has been a chargeback. And then the company has a chance to respond to that and tell their side of the story, give them all of the information. The bank is going to read both sides and decide who was in the right and who made an error here, and the money will be deposited accordingly.
You're acquiring bank. That means the bank that you use for credit card transactions, not the bank where you deposit checks. They're going to have a list of ways that you can choose to be notified of chargebacks. These might include a paper mail notification, a fax, and occasionally email notification. You can also log into your bank's web portal and see chargebacks. And it's not a bad idea to get a little warm and cozy with the bank's web portal for several reasons. This is just one of them. If you don't know how to log in, reach out to us or to whomever does your payment processing, and they can help you out. The point of that is, you can choose how to receive notifications, but from a pretty limited menu. And coming from the other direction on this, if someone in your business is in charge of minding the bank balance, that person's going to see the funds come out of the account. We're going to get into the why of that in a different video in the series. But for now, just know that if a chargeback is issued, one of the first things to happen is that the funds are removed from your account. It's an early notification that something's gone sideways, and you should dig in and learn more. However you find out, be on the lookout for chargeback notifications because there is a timestamp on those, and that timestamp isn't a suggestion. You're not going to win every chargeback. That's not a reasonable expectation if we're being honest. But you're absolutely going to lose if you don't respond and by the deadline. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the rules of the game for chargebacks and why. Now, I'm going to get into different reasons for chargebacks and the rules in more detail in different videos. But for today, I'm going to be painting with pretty broad strokes. So the rules are written by the credit card companies. This means there's a set of rules for Visa, another for MasterCard, a third one for Discover, and one for Amex. Think of it in the way that laws vary from state to state. They don't usually change radically, but they are a bit different. And if you're playing in that field, you're responsible for knowing those rules. The big thing here is that those card brands write the rules, and they're also the judge of disputes. This ain't a court of law, y'all. You are not innocent until proven guilty, and so you need to change your thinking when you approach this. If you receive a chargeback, it's your responsibility as the business to prove that the chargeback reason, whatever that is invalid. Did you get that? Because it's important. I feel like I should say it again. If you receive a chargeback, it's your responsibility as the business to prove that the chargeback reason is invalid. It's not a level playing field, and this is not an accident, but it also isn't a punishment. So let's dive into that for a little bit. These rules might seem unfair on the surface. I get that. It's a hard pill to swallow. And if you are operating your business in good faith, it can also seem punitive. But if you peel back a layer and look at the intent of the rules, it starts to make more sense. These rules were written by the credit card brands, and they exist to protect consumers. Like it or not, bad businesses exist, even if you aren't one of them. Sometimes businesses operate in good faith and with good intentions, but they're just not really well run, and the consumer pays the price for that. And other times, companies are designed to actively con people. Even if you're a business owner, you're also a consumer. And so when you put on that hat, the same rules that seem unreasonable all of a sudden don't seem so bad. And as a consumer, you can appreciate being protected from companies who don't always operate above board. So looking at it through that lens, the high standard and the burden of proof for companies is more reasonable. Dodgy companies exist. And the intent of this from the credit card brands is to protect consumers from the modern day equivalent of some yahoo selling snake oil off the back of a stagecoach to unsuspecting people.
I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like to continue the conversation, give us a call at Ascent Payment Solutions anytime, or comment below and we can talk there. Thanks so much for joining us, and please watch the rest of this series to learn more about chargebacks.